Okay, so I'm Jill, and today I'm going to teach you how to safely and properly use a slingshot and fire it accurately. To start, you need to learn a little bit about the slingshot. It is not necessarily a toy, even though it is fun to play with. A slingshot can be very dangerous, especially considering the ammo it uses. It propels rocks or little metal beads forward at such a high velocity that it can kill or definitely injure smaller animals or even people. The slingshot is basically a couple parts. There is the bands right here that stretch. This part is called the pouch. Mine is made of leather. There is the Y pieces that are made of metal. Mine are steel, and some are made of necessarily wood, but mine's stronger and made of steel. Then there's the hand piece which you hold, which is right here. It's got the grooves on it so that you can grip it better. That part is made of plastic on mine. And then there's an arm brace. Many slingshots don't have the arm brace because a lot of people don't like them or they just didn't buy them with it, but mine does because it helps to keep it more stable when you're shooting or when you're just like holding your frame so that you can get a better range, better stability, better distance. Now to start, there is the arm brace piece that holds onto your arm that actually presses down on your arm to hold it still. Mine actually can pop off, but it doesn't need to be super glued like the bars do, or the stretchy strings, because you don't usually pull back on it. So you just have to be careful about that if you're like picking it up from something so that it doesn't fall off and not hurt it. But so before you shoot a slingshot, you need to be precautionary. So a lot of people like to use glasses like safety goggles. Today I'm not using them because I'm not really firing very much. You need to be careful. Make sure that your arm brace is like connected to the hand grooves so that it doesn't break on you when you're pulling back and then like bust your hand open. You need to make sure that the rubber in your strings isn't lacerated or cut or like pinched or kinked really bad so that it doesn't break when you pull it back, because that would hurt if it hit your hand a lot. A lot of people like to use gloves on their hand that they hold it with because when you release, it snaps forward and it could hit your hand and hurt yourself. But I don't usually wear gloves because I think I'm a little more stable without them. Then, yes, so to start, there is the ammo that you use. You can either use rocks, like little pebbles or something, but I typically use these steel beads. I'll show you what these look like. Little, small, marble-like beads. These are very accurate because they're so round and spherical. They got like a perfect pressure with like how much force you use. They're way more accurate because they aren't lumpy like a rock. And these I typically use for usually hunting because I don't like to waste them. So I usually use rocks for just target practice. But if I'm at first sighting it in, like if I change something on my slingshot, I'm sighting it in, I use these to make it more accurate to know exactly what's wrong with my slingshot or what changed about it. So then you go to your stance for firing a slingshot. First you want arms length apart for your feet. Usually you have your non-dominant foot facing pretty close in the direction that your target is, and then your other foot's just kind of casually off as like your background foot so that you can like stand on it. Then what you do is, for this slingshot, because it has an arm brace, you want to fit your hand straight up through it and then grab onto the grooves very nicely so that when you squeeze it doesn't move at all. Then you want to make sure that your arm brace is against your arm, not just like hanging up to the side. And then you grab your pouch. Then you make sure it's folded in the right way. Then you take your ammo and you set it gently in the center of your pouch so that it doesn't move at all. and you squeeze it in together so that it doesn't fall out as you're pulling it back. Now, some people use 2 fingers or 4 fingers to make sure it's totally stuck, but I prefer to use 3 fingers because that seems to fit with the size of the ammo. And then as you pull it back, you start down here, or at least I do. And then you pull back with your right arm and push forward a little bit with your left arm, which is my down arm, and you aim it up. As you can see, this angle right here where the piece connects the lines, that is my straight edge. That's where I aim with my eye. That's like straight connected to my eye to where my target is. Then, yeah, you line it up, and then depending on how far away the object is that you're shooting at, or your target, you want to aim up or down angles, because if you aim up, it'll go further. If you aim down, it's obviously closer to you. So, now I'm going to show you how to shoot a target. That is my target, that box, and it's filled with more boxes inside of it so that it doesn't break, or that the steel balls don't go straight through and hit something behind it. And you want to make sure always that there is nothing behind it that you can actually hit that would damage or extremely ricochet, because that can end badly, and it doesn't. So when I bring it back though, I like to have my thumb straight against my jawbone, because that's where I keep my line. That's where I know I'm always accurate, and I can adjust from that point where the strings are. So my base, my stance, I pull my arm back, I aim, and I release. And that's pretty much it. But depending, again, on how far away the target is, you'll have to aim up or down, depending. And considering the ammo you use, obviously the steel balls are very more consistent. Rocks will sometimes literally fly around your target, depending on what they look like. So, there you have it. That's how you can safely use a slingshot and